Welcome back to the Bullpen podcast, where we dive into real conversations with business leaders, entrepreneurs, and innovators about what it takes to really build, lead, and grow with purpose. Today, I'm joined by Roxanne Jennings, president of EnviroStar Ingredients, a Minnesota-based company specializing in high-quality, water-soluble powders, custom ingredient solutions for food, beverage, nutraceutical, and cannabis brands across the country. Roxanne has spent her career mastering all things powder, blending science, creativity, and operational excellence to help brands take products from concept to commercialization. Under her leadership, EnviroStar has become a trusted partner for companies looking to innovate with precision, sustainability, and reliability at scale. In this episode, we'll talk about Roxanne's journey in the ingredient industry, how she leads teams through innovation and growth, and the insights she's gained at the forefront of manufacturing and food technology. Roxanne, thanks so much for stepping into the bullpen.
Thanks, Dylan. You make it sound really kind of fabulous, but in this ingredient world, when it's really just wet and dirty most of the time.
Oh, I have no doubt there's more to it than that, and we'll get into it right now. So tell us about your path into the business, and how did you get from your earlier career steps into heading production at EnviroStar?
So my background's in polymer engineering, and my business partner is actually my cousin. And when I was moving back to Minnesota, he had this business idea for making spray dryers, and then developing spray dryers, and then developing a tolling company. And when I was moving home, he's like, "Will you please help me do this?" He goes, "It's going to suck at the beginning. It's going to be terrible." He's like, "But I really think we got a shot of doing something fun together," because he's a chemical engineer, and with my background in polymer engineering, which is very specific to spray drying, um, you do most of the time need a polymer for it to be successful. So that was kind of my steps into this, and then just crawling through it for about 4 or 5 years until we really got on our feet.
That's awesome. Yeah, just, matching expertises and then creating a wonderful business. For listeners unfamiliar with the tech, can you walk us through what spray drying means in your business context and why it matters for the kind of ingredients you work with?
My favorite topic. I love talking about spray drying. So spray drying is the oldest version of food production that there is. It's almost 130 years old for making food shelf stable. Spray drying is just taking all of the water activity off of a product to make a powder. And water activity is what makes food go bad. That's what grows microbes, that's what grows bacteria, that sort of thing. So spray drying it's the oldest food form factor, and anything that sits on a grocery store shelf that's in powdered form, that is what a spray dried material is. Your cake batter, your jello, all of your seasonings, anything that you can think that sits in your cabinet and doesn't go bad for years, that is a spray dried product. It starts out when they're getting all their flavors correct, when they're trying to make all their ingredients blend to make one single thing. That looks like a big vat. We call it an emulsion, but it's just a big vat that's liquid. And that liquid gets sent into a spray dryer, which evaporates all of the water off of everything else that's in that water, all of the solids, all of the proteins, all of the milk, the egg, and it turns into a powder that then does not go bad after that. And that's how your ingredients are made.
Yeah, you just pick up a box of cake mix and you don't think about what it takes to make all of that. But so it's
Right.
fascinating, and I'm looking forward to learning even more about it. So EnviroStar serves several industries. What differences and similarities do you see with clients in those sectors approaching water-soluble powders?
So it's really different. Traditional food world, water solubility just kind of goes along with all of their food form factors. And they're just really looking for making sure that their powder is flowable and easy to manage, and it's easier for secondary manufacturing. Getting things into bags, getting things into boxes, making sure things don't clump or they don't change color, that sort of thing. That's traditional food world. But then when it comes to pharmaceutical, it's all the environmental issues that can go along. We need to be in a 100% clean room. We have to make sure that we are fully top to bottom gowned. We have to make sure all allergens are done. There hasn't been milk or egg ran through the plant for weeks beforehand. We're making sure everything is 100% clean, taken care of, and labeled to the extreme, even what temperature it was outside that day, that sort of thing.
Yeah. In terms of sustainability, so how is EnviroStar addressing that, and what do you think the ingredient future holds?
We're really seeing a big change in like clean labels, things that don't have a lot of different things on the label. That's a big one we're working on because a lot of the things that we've seen in the past have a lot of preservatives in it, have a lot of different chemicals that most people can't even say. So a lot of that is trying to kind of start from the beginning. And do we have to use those chemicals for preserving, or can we take certain things from the original food ingredients and either make them drier, reuse them for flowability? Do we have to be adding things into it if they're not needed? So that's one of the things I'm seeing in the traditional food world. But in the nutraceutical world, it seems to be a lot of single dose form factors, stick packs, little individual liquid packs, things that, kind of people stepping away from just taking a pill every day, integrating it into just a form that they enjoy taking or something that tastes good and they can maybe talk about it a little more versus just taking with your morning pill and that's it. That seems to be a
Okay.
big trend.
Gotcha. As president of a fast moving ingredient and manufacturing business, what do you look for when building your leadership team or selecting people for your production or innovation group?
So we're still pretty little. So
Yeah.
leadership roles, that's a hard one for us to come by right now.
Uh, sure.
But
Sure.
I will say for our production guys, though, the biggest thing, which probably a lot of people won't say this, is we look for people that are extremely mechanically inclined because everything that Clint and I do, that's actually fairly easy to teach somebody. Like it's just following an SOP, it's following a recipe, and just, kind of going over and over and over again on how to do that. Something we can't teach somebody is how to fix a machine when it breaks. How do you keep moving your day and we don't come to a standstill for days on end because a part broke? That's actually one of the biggest things that we look for is somebody that can take the initiative to really fix something and kind of just intuitively be like, it's just a hose that broke. I can go replace that hose. I'll go find a spare part. And that's really what we look for is being able
Yeah.
to keep running the way we do and not just a fan broke. Let me just turn the lights out and I'll start again tomorrow. We've had that in the past, and that was what really killed us.
Yeah. Especially for all the unique machinery you work with and the niche, the skill set that it takes. There's probably not a ton of people who know right away just how to resolve the issues.
And that's just kind of being mechanically inclined. So people that like to work
Yeah.
on their cars on the weekend, when we are interviewing somebody, we're like, "What do you do on the weekends?" They're like, "Oh, mowing the grass and fixing my old Ford 250." And we're like, "Yes, exactly. Do you know how to drive
There
a
you go.
forklift?" Yes. Okay, we're on the right path now.
Very nice. Very nice. So your company values include driven, creative, open-minded, trustworthy, no excuses, ethical, and respectful. How do you live those values daily, and how do you hold your team and maybe yourself accountable?
Um, I guess one of the biggest things is us as a team being able to trust each other. One of the biggest things that we initially say at the beginning when we start working with new employees is if something goes wrong, please come tell us immediately so we can just get on the path of fixing it. Even if it's something huge, like, hey, something started on fire. I'm sorry. I don't know what I did. The sooner we figure it out, the sooner we can fix it and get back on the right path. Because I mean, 5 years ago, I was breaking things left and right. Big, very expensive pieces of equipment. And Clint was also. So we know that there's not really a lot we can do about that. But as long as we can just immediately come together and get the situation under control, it makes life for all of us so nice because nobody feels uncomfortable saying anything to each other. It's such a really cohesive environment that we have with each other. And also making sure all of us put our families first, no matter what. That is a big thing for us and our crew is you got a sick kid, stay home. Clint or I will take over the machine for the day. Something happened, you got to leave in the middle of the day, absolutely shut down, come back when you need to if you need a couple days, but and making sure they do what they need for their family first so that then they can support us as they need to. That's our biggest one.
Awesome. That's a great approach and something of course all companies should lead with. Innovation and scale often pull in different directions. How do you as a leader find balance between experimenting and execution?
I've been learning this recently. It's about
Mm.
saying no to some people. Some people that come at
Mm.
you with it seems like it's going to be a great project, but once you kind of start getting into it and you get that third or fourth interview with them and you're trying to kind of grasp what they're really trying to accomplish and just having to say no when you know it's going to pull you away from doing the things that make the company run. If it's too much bandwidth and it's not something that I don't want to say not used to doing because we do things all day, every day that we're not used to doing, but just learning to say no to the projects that you know are not going to be a good fit for your company, which that's one we've just recently learned because we used to say yes to everything and it did not work out well over the last couple of years.
Yeah, that can be challenging because it's an opportunity but it's good to take a step back and say like, hey, sometimes the juice just isn't worth the squeeze, and it can be difficult but ultimately necessary. And then for emerging leaders, what advice would you give about navigating this industry and climbing into senior production roles?
Not being afraid to go talk to those people in those bigger roles and talk about your ideas and kind of give your 2 cents because a lot of times the people above you, I mean, it could be something so easy that they missed and it could change, making things simpler and cleaner and that sort of thing. Just not being afraid to talk about your ideas to these people. That'd be my biggest piece of advice. Even if it's even if it seems like it's going to sound stupid, it probably isn't, honestly. Like if you've been thinking about it for a couple days, it probably is not stupid.
Yeah, and that and I'm and it sounds like you instill that trust in your team as well.
Yeah.
And now, if you were looking back, what's one thing in your early years of production and manufacturing? If there was one thing to focus on, what would it be?
I think the one thing Clint and I could probably both agree on is we probably should have hired help sooner than what we did because we were sleeping in the parking lot in an RV for a few months just trying to get through production when it was just the two of us. We probably should have taken that jump sooner. Don't think you could do it all yourselves, even though it takes so long to find that right person to step in and relieve that stress of production from you. But the process of finding somebody is going to take a lot longer than you think, and starting that sooner is something that's really important.
Yeah, I get it. Delegating can be tough, especially when you're just starting out with your
Yep.
business. It's your baby, so to speak. So that can be tricky. But yeah, ultimately, that's how you grow, and you're better off for it in the long run.
Yep.
So awesome. And now, so looking ahead, finally, what big change do you foresee in the ingredient space that you're already preparing for?
All of these all natural clean labels that are coming. Red dye 40 needs to be slowly vetted out of all these ingredients. And I know there's going to be a lot more coming. So getting prepared for all natural sweeteners, all natural colors, but things that still look recognizable to the consumer. Like we can't change the way Cheeto looks overnight and expect people to be happy about that. So that's the big movement that we're starting to prepare for.
Yeah, I imagine that shift will, how
It's
people
coming.
online are these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, they will say like, yeah, why isn't it as orange and flavor blasted looking? And
Yep. Even
those
if it
are
tastes exactly the
the
same.
yeah, yeah, and
Visual visual's a very big thing with food.
That's going to be a wrap on today's episode, Roxanne. Thank you so much. I've really appreciated your perspective on leadership, innovation, and the way you connect technical excellence with your genuine team culture. I hope this episode reminds you that great leadership isn't just about what you make. It's about how you build the people and the systems around it. Roxanne shows us that curiosity, collaboration, and consistency can turn even the most complex manufacturing challenges into lasting opportunities. And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow the Bullpen podcast wherever you listen and share it with someone who's building, leading, or creating something new. Roxanne, thank you so much again for stepping into the bullpen with us.
Thank you, Dylan. I really appreciate it.